Hey guys, welcome to me reacting to the Netflix series that was also scary for adult James by The Odd Ones Out. Now, this might upload like an hour after the SMG4 one, or maybe 30 minutes. I have no idea. I'll see how fast I can edit this one again, because, when jokes are way too obvious and, actually true, they usually aren't funny, so I don't know why I'm saying that. But, yeah, anyways, guys, original links in the description. Well, no, wait, hang on a sec. Yeah, this video is clearly, a sequel to the Dark Crystal review he made, or video that he made. And, well, it was definitely a review. And, honestly, I thought it was funny. I liked it. I really did. But, yeah, anyways, guys, original links in the description. Make sure to subscribe to the Odd Ones Out. Let's get right into it.
And publish.
Yeah.
23-minute long movie review about an 80s puppet movie sure is different than the content I usually post. And even though it was a lot of work, it was fun to try something new, and I think the video turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
Am I right, Chamberlain Funko Pop? Well, it's a good thing I'll never, ever have to worry about this franchise ever again. Yeah. Are you sure about that? When I made a review about a cult classic puppet movie that came out 35 years ago, the last thing I was expecting was that said franchise would get a reboot announced 2 weeks after I posted. And every single day since then, people have been tweeting at me saying, "Hey James, did you know Netflix is making a Dark Crystal series?" Yes, I know. Do you know who you're talking to? If you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, then I recommend you watch my video, The Movie That Was Too Scary for Baby James. In that video, I reviewed a scary kids movie called The Dark Crystal. The movie was more or less a passion project of Jim Henson, the creator of the Muppets, and so this movie was done entirely with puppets. It came out before I was born, but I still somehow watched it and got scarred for life. In my review, I said some good things about the movie, like I thought it was a very creative and artistic film, but I, also said some negative things about it, too.
The story made
As
no
YouTubers,
sense.
sometimes we forget that our videos are public and can be viewed by anyone. And when we talk about companies, we can forget that real people are attached to those properties who have poured hundreds of hours into these projects. And there's a chance they'll see our videos. And unbeknownst to me, Lisa Henson, current CEO of the Henson Company, saw my video.
Oh, no.
And for some reason, I never considered that was ever going to happen. If I had known that Lisa frickin' Henson was gonna watch my video, I probably would have worded a few things differently. I don't think she was too mad at my video though, because she invited me to tour the Henson office, and I got to see a real-life Skeksis puppet, which resurfaced an unhealthy amount of repressed memories, and I got to meet some of the puppeteers, which was a whole lot of fun. Also, before Age of Resistance was released, I got contacted by Netflix, and they invited me and some other Dark Crystal fans to an early screening of the first 2 episodes. And I signed a non-disclosure agreement so I couldn't spoil anything. I don't remember when that NDA said I was allowed to talk about it again, but hopefully I'm in the clear. When I was in the early screening, I just remember thinking about how cool that these characters in this world were back on the big screen. Netflix has a pretty big screen, and the puppetry and cinematography have only gotten better. And the fact that 95% of everything was done with practical effects and puppets, it's beautiful. There's not a single human in this series, except in episode 10 when this puppeteer's head can be seen for a couple frames. I just checked and they actually took it out, so I still saw it. So much time and care and hard work was put into this series that there was a documentary made about how hard it was to make this series. If any of you are wondering, no, Rayunip does not make an appearance in Age of Resistance, nor is there a naked baby Jen puppet. Also, if you're worried that the show wasn't going to be as dark and scary as the original, don't worry. It's darker and scarier than the original. The Netflix family Twitter account was nice enough to timestamp every scary part in the series, and as you can see, stuff goes down in episode 10. Surprisingly, though, they didn't blacklist the scene of the Skeksis peeing out of 3 different pee streams in episode 6 at 28 minutes and 41 seconds. Really makes you think. So, artistically, this series is beautiful, and it needs to do well because it's left open for a season 2, and I want a season 2 to get greenlit. I'm not going to do a plot summary of the whole thing like I did in the first review because I don't want this video to be an hour long, and you should watch it for yourself. I'm not just going to do everything for you, I'm not your mom. But there are some things you should know before you go watching the series. This is kinda spoilery, but I won't spoil that much. So this
I really
alien
don't care.
planet is home to these creatures called gelflings. They can share memories with each other by holding hands, and the girl gelflings have wings. There's also this other creature
True.
called Agura, who's been around since the
Oh,
beginning
yeah.
of the world. She's basically Yoda's sassy grandma. And then out of
Shit.
nowhere, these tree aliens visit. Stay with me here.
Oh, yeah,
And they
and they
crack
split
this very
apart.
important crystal, and in doing so, they split into two different creatures. Their goodness becomes this thing called a mystic, who are dumb, and their bad side
Shit.
become these cool bird monsters called Skeksis, and then the Skeksis took over the entire world, so whoops. None of this is explained in the original movie, and it's not explained in the series until episode 7, but I think that the tree alien backstory should have started the series, which is why I just spoiled it for you. The original 90-minute film already had so much lore, and this new Netflix reboot just added even more lore? There's even a character named Lore? How much lore is there?
What?
Speaking of names, there are a lot of made-up words in this series, and sometimes those made-up words are hard to remember.
Oh,
Within the
no.
first minute of Age of Resistance, the narrator tells us that there are seven clans of Gelfling, but then only names 3 because there are only 3 important ones that we should care about. I don't even know the names of the other 4 clans, and I'm like a Dark Crystal aficionado. Also, there are like 10 evil bird monsters, all with names like Skekso, Skeksil, Skektek, and Shrek. Granted, most of the time they go by their more common names like Chamberlain or the Emperor, but gosh dang it, I can't even remember some of those names. That's the pussy one, and that's the one that made that weird face in the original movie, and that's the one whose voice does not sound like a Skeksis at all.
Now, what vexes you, child?
Another thing you should know is that I thought this series was pretty slow. Maybe it's because I'm impatient or I'm used to watching YouTube videos at 2 times speeds exclusively, but do you remember in the original movie how there was a scene where the Skeksis ate dinner for 2 whole minutes, and visually it was amazing, but the whole time you're thinking, yeah, I get it. Well, there are a lot of scenes like that in the series. Let's take the beginning of episode 2, for example. It starts with a character we've never seen before waking up and putting on his shoes and making porridge and then spilling the porridge on his shirt and brushing his hair, then roughing it up, then grabbing his cleaning supplies. And it's just a whole minute of this unnamed character getting ready for his day. It's just so poor. Just cut it, please. And it wouldn't be that bad if this was the only example, but trust me, there are plenty of
Filler.
examples.
Oh,
I just don't want to
no.
spoil any of them for you.
Hunter
Turning a
Skeksis.
90-minute movie into a 9-hour TV series, you're going to have some filler or some scenes that don't necessarily drive the plot forward.
Why?
I get that. Luckily,
did
I
you
found
do
this
that
Chrome
to
plugin that lets you
try and
watch
comply
Netflix
with
at 2
COPPA?
times speed, so
It's all good.
making this video has got me thinking about prequels and how tricky they are to do right. In the original movie, there are only 2 Gelflings left in the entire world. So a prequel that sets up a world with 7 different Gelfling clans, we as an audience know that something's gonna happen and it ain't gonna look good for the Gelfling. The series also added this MacGuffin Halo sword looking thing that was supposed to save the world, but the whole time watching that I kept thinking, no. That's not how the world is saved. The world's not saved until 1982. Also, there are certain characters that we know can't die because they're in the original movie, but boy does this show make you think some OG characters are gonna die. It almost makes me wish
Really?
that the writers used the 80s Dark Crystal movie as inspiration and rebooted the series in its own separate universe. Movie reviewers tend to focus a lot on the negatives,
It's a
and
nostalgia
I don't want to
critic,
come off as a
disappointing,
hater
Doug.
because I really did enjoy this series, and I want a season 2 to get made, so let's end this video with some of the things I liked about this series. I like that we got to see the Skeksis with more personality because they were always so over-the-top evil. The Hunter Skeksis was just on a whole new level of cool. All the other Skeksis never came across as threatening. Like look how slow they walk. I could beat them up. But the Hunter Skeksis, oh man, he was awesome. Do you think he'll be my friend? I like that the series didn't tone down the darkness, and if anything, they amplified it, because everyone like me should have a deep-seated fear of puppets. There are some great nods to the original Dark Crystal, like when the Emperor Skeksis says, I will never be dust! But we all know that's the very first thing he does in the original movie. Celadon is a piece of garbage and does not deserve a redemption arc. The voice acting is amazing. There are a lot of talented people voicing these characters, like Luke Skywalker. A YouTuber named Barnaby Dixon, who made these very cool mantis finger puppets, got to work on a scene where the puppets put on a mini puppet show. And that was everything I liked about Dark Crystal
What?
Age of Resistance. So, in conclusion, if you have 9 hours of free time, download the Video Speed Controller plugin, set that bad boy to 2, and save yourself 4.5 hours. But do watch Age of Resistance. Also, executives, if you still need someone to play Rayunip,
Hire me.
hello.
Oh.
Hey.
So, this video wasn't too bad. I don't really know anything about Dark Crystal Resistance. Like, I want to watch the original movie because it is also on Netflix. I want to do that first, and then I feel like the series I might watch, but I don't really know. Because Dark Crystal is kind of like, those like classic, like, ooh, weird universe thing with like its own lore and stuff. Like, yeah, it can be good, but sometimes it can be bad. But yeah, anyways, guys, enjoy. Leave a like and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next one. Bye.